Greetings everyone, I am Dark Ages Workshop from the Grimdark Compendium. Today I want to discuss quite an interesting topic with you. One that may appear so obvious, yet it seems it's always so hard to give a definitive answer. I get asked so many times, to this day, what even is the Grimdark Style? Or is my miniature Grimdark enough? Today's discussion is gonna be all about bringing some clarity to this whole matter from my point of view, in an effort to offer both a common ground of general rules and very personal insights to anyone that is genuinely struggling to understand or is ridden with prejudice towards this whole approach. Let's start with a general definition. Grimdark is a subgenre that can be expressed in many forms of media. It has a distinct, pervasive sense of dread, bleakness, and unhealthiness. The dehumanizing aspects of war, brutality, fanaticism impact the characters on a physical and psychological level, and the loss of personal values leads to nihilism and absence of morality, to a point where one cannot truly distinguish good from evil. So, what is the Grimdark style supposed to represent in miniature painting? It is the embodiment of a narrative's raw essence, where the twisted and demented foundations of a universe are visually brought to life. It demands that every subversive aspect of the world and setting are being reflected on the characters, with all the burdens they must endure in order to survive or even exist. On a practical and visual standpoint, we are used to associate dirty, desaturated colors and visceral textures with a sense of unease and discomfort. This is the most basic, surface-level definition and set of rules to portray the Grimdark style. That's perfectly okay to use as a general guideline and a starting point. But there is an entire world you're missing out on. An oil or enamel wash alone doesn't make your miniature automatically grimdark. Honestly, it is much more than that. There are so many and varied nuances beyond drab colors, dirt, and grime that in a certain way make the Grimdark style a whole philosophy of approaching miniature art. The content you can find on Grimdark Compendium focuses exactly on unraveling and teaching all these nuances, and it's been doing it for the last decade. There are some aspects that we find are simply crucial to step up the Grimdark style to the next level, such as exercising in world building, creating unique and purposeful characters, and using unorthodox, fun, and creative techniques to model and paint your miniatures. Perhaps the most foundational element for Grimdark is establishing the idea of the setting we want to represent. Characters should mirror and reflect the world around them. They are the product of their own culture, the tyrannical regimes or desperate conditions they live in, and therefore any effort into creating a story and context and effectively implementing these elements in your models can only positively impact the final result. This mental exercise is called worldbuilding, and I feel it's by far the most quintessential aspect of the Grimdark philosophy. In our effort to teach what is the Grimdark style, we include different perspectives and points of views to enrich any theme or narrative. If you feel you're working with a model that doesn't reflect the narrative it's supposed to follow, leave your fears and doubts behind and do everything that is necessary to address this, even in the middle of the process. The choice of poses, expressions, clothing and weaponry is crucial in conveying all the aforementioned sensations. If the body language and composition of your models already scream grimdark to you before you even put the primer, it just means you're off to a great start, everything else will just follow very naturally. As for the painting and modeling techniques, we experiment with an array of materials and mediums, and focus on creating rich, natural-looking textures. We like to create characters that look like out of a stop-motion film, lifelike and visceral, exploring the uncanny valley through the use of never-before-seen techniques in miniature painting. To start off, I highly recommend you watch our Learn Grimdark course on the Grimdark Compendium. It's completely free and will answer a lot of your doubts and questions in its exhaustive 10 episodes. The reductive technique is perhaps the most known by this point, and it consists in applying a filter, building up a certain hue that can be an undershade or a unifying wash, and subsequently reactivating it and removing it to shift the tone of a surface. This creates depth and volume and lets you have full control of how much of the color gets dissolved or removed. In the Learn Grimdark course, you can also see how we make vast use of oils, enamels, and acrylics in different combinations to achieve very intentional, specific results, as well as reproducing surface finish variation based on the nature of each individual material. We also have an array of other courses where we explain some of the lesser-known techniques in great detail that for us are crucial to bring the Grimdark style to the next level. For example, the fur application technique. The fine texture and natural sheen of actual fur is nearly impossible to replicate by conventional modeling methods such as sculpting. By using this technique, we introduce a totally new and unexpected texture and surface finish variation that can be quite striking. Then the soft pressing technique enables artists to replicate 2-scale scratching and chipping details onto the miniature's hard surfaced areas without any use of mediums or painted-on chippings. This technique is exceptionally useful over bare metal effects, but can be used in a wide variety of hard surface detailing. General modeling techniques involve the use of different types of materials of everyday use, turned into versatile means to enrich characters, vehicles, or scenery. Cheesecloth, cables, jewelry bits, wires, and meshes of all kinds can help create stories and unique handcrafted models. Finally, the glue application technique, where we take advantage of the properties of cyanoacrylate glue to paint skin and materials in the most realistic way possible, creating all kinds of freckles, veins, and capillaries that would be otherwise impossible to achieve through standard ways. These are just a portion of the variety of techniques we're developing and teaching. The Grimdark style is an opportunity to create visually striking miniatures that speak through every facet, from the modeling to the painting aspect. It's about adhering to the world-building criteria of a Grimdark universe and bringing everything down together using these nuances in conjunction, or even just some of them according to your vision. It's the way they are supposed to look, given the setting is accordingly Grimdark. This is exactly what the Grimdark Compendium is committed to offer, providing artists with techniques, tools, and valuable insights to let them express their creativity to the fullest, pushing boundaries and challenging the mainstream standards of what is possible to achieve with miniature art. There's one final ingredient that is needed to create excellent Grimdark art, and it is your personal vision, your contribution and interpretation of the different facets of Grimdark. We, as people and artists, share a pool of consciousness made of symbolisms and imagery, but we also possess a personal type of consciousness that is, on the other hand, made of very intimate emotions, temperatures, and perceptions. The places we've been, the people we have met, the books, movies, and video games we've experienced at a specific point in life. And this is one of the most fascinating and interesting parts of the process, as all these sensations can bleed through your work if conveyed properly, and give birth to unique pieces. I see the Grimdark Style as a way to explore the deepest recesses of emotions and fears, the romantic, moving, and devastating feeling of being confronted with the inner shadow self. Art should evoke a visceral reaction. So take this opportunity, learn new techniques, try to take a deeper and more insightful look into the subject you're working on, experiment, and most important thing of all, have fun doing it. If a universe was described as grimdark by its creators in the first place, then what is the Grimdark Style in miniature painting? It is the way it is supposed to look. Let's make an example real quick. I will say it cut and dry. I personally feel it's kind of redundant to state that a miniature for example Mordheim, can optionally be painted in the Grimdark Style. Mordheim is grimdark. It has always been. The rulebook clearly showcases the mood, the overall tone and aesthetic. You are the vessel through which art is given life. You are incentivized to give your own contribution. But the source material is there, and it speaks for itself. It doesn't matter whether your style is leaning towards a sketchy, artsy and loose one, or with a hint of classic, or visceral and photorealistic as we do it on the Grimdark Compendium. Ultimately, the Grimdark Style is about committing to a vision, made of objective rules that are being laid before us by the lore of the setting. But you have the power to express those rules with the aid of a thoughtful composition, the use of subtle symbolism, storytelling through painting and modeling, and pure, raw, dark and twisted creativity. Once you have fully grasped these concepts, you will have very little doubt in recognizing what is miniature art in the Grimdark Style and what is just a painting exercise with oils and enamels with a dirty look. On Grimdark Compendium, you can find a place to learn new perspectives, point of views, and techniques. And you will find everything you need from developing a mindset to actually bringing projects to reality. We are also launching a new paint line of enamel colors, but I will let Zakasgun himself talk about them in better detail very soon. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this rambling. Sometimes stirring up the conversation can lead to new places and thought processes, and I'm all for this kind of discussion. Feel free to comment, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe. Take a look at grimdarkcompendium.com, and you're more than welcome to join the groups on Discord and Facebook. Hear you soon, dear people. Take care, and stay grimdark.